Here's your First Warn Weather Forecast First, sponsored by Anderson Collision Center. Visit driveanderson.com.
A little bit of a temperature gradient across the state line from east to west, where we have a little bit more of that cloud cover out to the east and a little bit of rain shower activity also moving in. Further off to the west, we remained underneath a little bit more sunshine later, and we're even at 68 degrees in Galena. Compare that to 59 in DeKalb. Sandwiched between here and Rockford, we're now sitting in the mid-60s. Those rain showers, though, beginning to work their way a little bit closer, producing some bands of steady rain over top Chicago. Not quite seeing anything here in the state line yet, but whatever rain does end up falling, we'll have a hard time raking it to the ground because we still have some drier air in the lower levels of the atmosphere. Nonetheless, I do expect a few sprinkles to make their way to the ground, and that likely is the trend overnight tonight. Temperature returning to the mid-40s for overnight lows. I'll let you know where the temperatures will trend going into tomorrow and how much longer we could see that scattered shower activity coming up in your most trusted forecast a little later.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. A suicide prevention walk held at a state line school. Hear from participants on the importance of checking in with others. Plus another local rally against President Trump and his actions during the first few months in office. Residents expressing their concerns on the immigration policies. And sharing talents and skills with our youth. The local skateboarder giving kids lessons and promoting the future of the sport.
Live from WTVO 17. This is Eyewitness News at 5.
Good evening. Happy Sunday. I'm Rian Wild. Thanks for joining us tonight. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. Lots of local organizations are bringing light to the issue, including those at Stillman Valley High School. A suicide prevention and mental health awareness walk was held. They call it the Out of the Darkness Campus Walk, something the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention started. It is student-led and designed to engage youth and young adults in the fight to prevent suicide. At Stillman Valley, this walk is led by students and staff who has personally dealt with suicide loss.
You don't know who is struggling. It's really important for us to support those people because we don't know who's struggling and we don't know what impact that we're making. Because again, we don't 100% know what causes people to take their own lives. So I think it's really important just to be as positive and uplifting and bring as much awareness to the condition as we can.
If you or someone you know is struggling with mental health, dial 988 for immediate help from a counselor anywhere in the United States. The Trump administration turns to one of its daily business agencies to help in detention and deportment of illegal immigrants. Reports say the U.S. Postal Service is now aiding the Department of Homeland Security in finding, detaining, and deporting unauthorized immigrants in the United States. President Donald Trump signed an executive order requiring federal agencies to assist with immigration probes. The Postal Inspection Service has authority to enforce 200 federal statutes related to crimes using the postal system. In response to these actions and other policies by the president, local community members held a protest in Rockford today. The group gathered at East State and Buckley Drive. Signs ranging from immigration policies to treating everyone equally were held by attendees. Residents also expressed multiple chants and received honks from cars passing by. One participant says he came out here peacefully, but to make a stance.
There's a lot going on right now, and I feel like, we require a lot of changes with Trump getting into office. Things need change and people need to know about it. We're using our First Amendment right to be out here to protest. It's not violent, we stay peaceful, but people need to know what's going on.
Aguilera says it's important for community members to make their voices heard. Community members and volunteers spent the morning cleaning up gravestones at local cemeteries. Members of a local Civil War history group, 815 Stone Scrubbers, led the volunteers to clean and preserve the gravestones at Cedar Bluff Cemetery in Rockford. The group provided footwear and clothing for the participants. This is the third year the group has organized this, and they are gearing up for a big ceremony where they'll help install the graves of 32 Civil War veterans who did not have a stone.
My passion and the excitement that I have for what I do and what I love to do really comes out, and it gets people excited about preserving history. Rockford has such a wealth of history, and preserving that here and doing things like this to help preserve these gravestones is important.
Jenkins says the ceremony for the installation of those 32 gravestones will be on Saturday, September 13th. A man in Freeport is looking to spread the love of skateboarding to the younger generation. Eyewitness News reporter Tyler Sorensen talked with the founder of Pretzel City Skate Sessions to see how he's inspiring future skateboarders.
Meet Keegan Bottoms, local Freeport resident and owner of Northern Illinois Radon Remedies. also avid skateboarder, trying to showcase his love of skateboarding to the younger generation, one lesson at a time.
I started skateboarding when I was 7, so 26 years ago I picked up a skateboard.
Keegan would go on to start Pretzel City Skate Sessions, hoping to bring life back to the Freeport skate park.
When I was a kid, the skate park was always flourishing. It was full of kids. We had a local skate shop that had an indoor mini ramp, and there was always kids in there skating. Nowadays, when I drive by and I look at the skate park, it seems desolate.
Keegan took to social media, looking to see if there was still a pulse of the skateboarding community.
I put out some feelers to check to see if there was even a skateboard pulse in Freeport before I went ahead and got insurance and got the ball rolling. But yeah, no, we've had a great outreach, and we're just thrilled about that.
One of his partners and friends, Mike Martin, knows that as soon as Keegan puts his mind to something, he will deliver.
Keegan always produces. He sticks to his word. He has an idea and he throws it at me, and he has a goal. And he wants to achieve that goal. And every time you give him a chance, he achieves it.
So far, Pretzel City Skate Sessions have met twice, with both lessons having double-digit kids sign up, showing that there's still a skateboarding culture in the Pretzel City.
It's great to see that there's still a desire there to skateboard, because like I said, it seemed like there was no skate culture left in this town just due to the fact that the skate park was empty all the time.
Reporting in Stevenson County, for your home team, I'm Tyler Sorensen.
Tomorrow is Cinco de Mayo, or the 5th of May, which is a day of celebration in the Mexican culture. And some state line groups kicked off the celebrations today. It marks the date of the Mexican Army's May 5th, 1862 victory over France at the Battle of Puebla during the France-Mexican War. Today, Rockford's Don Carter Lanes held a Jeeps and Tacos Fest, where community members got to see a Jeep show and eat some traditional Mexican cuisine. Organizers say all the proceeds go to the Winnebago County K-9 unit.
The dogs are very expensive, and as a police officer retires, that dog retires with him. So they always are needing the funding, and we're always trying to do something great for the community and something that impacts our local community positive way.
Funk says over 20 food trucks and 60 vendors were there today, and they treat it like their own version of Rockford City Market. Coming up next, more tariffs in effect this weekend, how President Trump is standing firm on them and his new negotiations when we return.
We saw a little bit of early day sunshine today, bringing our temperatures well into the 60s for some of us, including a high temperature of 68 in Rockford. But our next round of showers beginning to work their way in. I'll let you know how long they linger into the evening tonight, coming up in your most trusted forecast in just a little bit.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team, with Rianne Weil, Drew Collins, and meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
President Trump is standing firm on his tariff strategy, which he says will level the playing field for American business. And as new tariffs go into effect, there are signs that China is open to negotiating with the U.S. on trade. ABC's Selena Wang reports from Washington.
The auto industry feeling the impact as President Trump's 25% tariff on imported car parts went into effect this weekend. This on top of the 25% tariff already imposed on foreign-made cars. Analysts say the new tariffs could drive up prices for consumers, even on cars manufactured here in the U.S., which often rely on foreign-made parts. Companies also bracing, GM saying the tariffs will cost them $4 to $5 billion this year. A recent ABC News Washington Ipsos poll found 72% of Americans think Trump's economic policies are very or somewhat likely to cause a recession in the short term. President Trump brushing off those concerns in an interview with NBC's Kristen Welker on Meet the Press.
Do you think it could happen?
Anything can happen, but I think we're going to have the greatest economy in the history of our country. I think we're going to have the greatest economic boom in history.
But some Americans say they're feeling the strain, worried about prices and inventory.
It's showing up in the grocery stores. The prices have gone up. It's quite ridiculous because I know during Christmas time, everything is going to be very expensive.
I think Trump should forget these tariffs because he's doing it to create business in the United States, but it's not going to create business in the United States.
And signs that China may be open to negotiating with the U.S., but Beijing insisting the president must first remove the 145% tariff on Chinese goods. Instead, the Trump administration closed a trade loophole that allowed goods valued at $800 or less to come into the U.S. tariff-free. E-commerce giants Temu and Shein warned consumer prices will rise. Temu now saying prices are unchanged for now, but that it will no longer ship directly to customers from China, instead fulfilling orders from warehouses in America. Selena Wang, ABC News, Washington.
We had another nice day here at the state line, and it's about to get even nicer. When we come back, meteorologist Jordan Wolf is in to tell us about the dry stretch we have this week. His full forecast is next.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
We've had a little bit of a bounce back and forth between sunshine earlier and now cloud cover moving into the later part of our afternoon and now into the evening. Looking at an overcast sky at the moment here with our Mercy Health SkyTrack camera in Rochelle. That cloud cover associated with our stalling low pressure system off to our south and our southeast, now producing some of those rain showers working their way eastward our direction, actually from the east, and we're starting to see a few of those showers spread across the Chicago area and the Chicago suburbs. Cloud cover mainly here in the shorter term, but we will start to see at least a few of those sprinkles make their way to the surface as we head over the next several hours. You can see where we have a lot of those spots that are a little bit on the cooler side where cloud cover has remained thicker earlier today. The edge of that cloud cover here locally, which is why our temperature made it into the mid and upper 60s for many of us across the state line. You can see a pretty strong temperature gradient still even at this hour for many spots. 59 in DeKalb, but 66 in Rockford, even 68 out in Galena. I also show off our dew point values that are still sitting quite a bit lower than where our air temperature is located, indicating that we have a lot of that drier air near and just above the surface. That's the case for our weather watcher Terry out in Genoa, reporting a temperature of 63 degrees, a dew point of 37, noting that northeast wind around 18 miles per hour. Meanwhile, Jim on the southwest side of Rockford reporting 66 degrees for an air temperature, 25 the dew point, so both of them noting some of that drier air down near the surface. We will continue to see at least a few of those isolated showers, likely in the form of some sprinkles, maybe some drizzle as we head over the next several hours. Patchy drizzle or some sprinkles possible throughout much of the overnight hours tonight. Temperature will drop back down to 46. I don't expect it to be raining all of the night, but on and off sprinkle or a light shower could be possible. That'll likely continue at least into the early part of tomorrow morning, but we'll get some clearing going into the afternoon and evening. If we get sunshine that returns a little bit quicker, our high temperature forecast of 62 may need to be bumped up depending on how quickly we see some of that sunshine. Futurecast showing off a lot of those showers now working their way into the state line over the next several hours. We'll likely see those fall in a very, very light form. Remember that drier air near the surface limiting how much of that actually makes it to the ground, but Futurecast still noting that potential over the next several hours. You see a few more lobes of this moisture working their way in as we head into the early part of tomorrow morning. Highest chance for maybe a stronger shower or two, at least steadier shower could be possible into the early part of tomorrow morning, but then we likely see some sunshine, even a couple spots noting a lot more sunshine. Futurecast, I think, a little too aggressive and brings our temperature a little bit on the higher side. Outgoing low pressure system, that'll bring us those showers as we head over the next several hours and going into early tomorrow, but higher pressure starting to take over as we head through the next few days. A secondary cutoff low will be stalled down to our south and our southwest, and that will likely set up this blocking pattern that will limit how much rainfall we get around here and also start to bring our temperature up a little bit as we head into the middle part of the week. We're still 62 degrees with a couple of sprinkles early Monday, but we're dry likely for Tuesday. High temperature 70 degrees. We get a backdoor cold front that'll come in, maybe a stray shower or two on Wednesday, but we'll see temperature still in the 70s there. Behind that front, a couple more days in the 60s, but back to the mid 70s again by the weekend.
All right, thanks, Jordan. Well, Drew's the next in sports. The Cubs sit in first place in the NL Central. Highlights from Milwaukee coming up next.
Now sports with Drew Collins.
So far, so good for the Ice Hogs. They are perfect in the playoffs. They swept Chicago and now lead Milwaukee 2-0. And last night, the Hogs did it with ease. They beat down the Admirals. They scored 6 total goals with Joey Anderson tallying a natural hat trick. The Hogs now have a chance to win the series right here in Rockford. Coach Mark Eaton had a lot to say in regards for Joey Anderson as a great team leader.
Yeah, I mean, he's a huge part of our team, a great leader, leads off the ice, leads on the ice, just plays the right way, wins battles in all the hard areas, wins the lines, gets pucks out, gets pucks in, and just the kind of guy that can lead you to victory in more ways than one.
It's been nothing but good vibes for the Cubs fans as of late. The Cubs are a few games ahead in the NL Central and have won another division series. They had a chance for the series sweep in Milwaukee, so let's check it out. The bats finally cooled off for the Cubs, 11 strikeouts and only 5 hits on the day. Freddie Peralta was amazing for the Brew Crew. The big story is Shota Imanaga. He was on the mound despite battling his hamstring injury, and Shota had to come out the game after giving up 2 earned runs as the injury seemed to get worse after this play. It'll be interesting to see whether he'll get some time on the IR. Either way, let's hope the injury is minor for Shota. Merriweather comes in and throws a wild pitch, and just like that, the Brewers take the lead. Craig Counsell not happy about that one. After that, it was raining runs left and right. The Brewers just got hot. The Cubs lose 4-0. Cubs manager Craig Counsell spoke on Shota's injury after the game.
He's never had any lower body muscle strains, so he's a little unsure of what the feeling means. But he felt something for sure. So we'll just get it checked out tomorrow and go from there.
The White Sox just wrapped up their final game of the series with the Astros after an extended rain forecast. They just called this one in the 7th inning. Lenyn Sosa had 2 RBIs. Josh Rojas had an RBI, and so did Luis Robert Jr. So the White Sox win the series and win today 5-4. NBA playoffs is always a good time. We have more action tonight. Game 1 of Jordan's Pacers taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland was a big favorite going in at home, but the Pacers lead by 5 in the first quarter. And the game tonight is a long-awaited Game 7 with the Warriors and Rockets. We'll see if Fred VanVleet can help his Rockets win in advance. Tip-off for that one is at 7:30. And we have some NHL playoffs tonight. The Jets host the Blues in a Game 7 matchup. Puck drop is at 6. That's sports. We'll be right back.
I gotta say, this is a nice looking 7-day forecast. I'm loving the 70s.
Yeah, 70s and up. Maybe some warm, rainy nights ahead. I don't know.
We're actually looking pretty dry, which may not necessarily be a good thing for a lot of us who kind of starting to get that need for a little bit of that rain, especially for our soils. Getting a little dry out there, but nonetheless, we have a couple of slim chances for showers ahead. Most of the week will continue to remain dry. In the short term, we have some of our showers out to the east starting to work their way in, mainly off toward the south and southeast, closer to Chicago metro area. Right now, the first one interactive radar from Rockford, Glastonbury, continuing to spread westward, though, as we head over the next several hours. A lot of that not quite making it to the surface because we have a lot of drier air, but likely expect a few sprinkles over the evening tonight and possibly even going into the early part of tomorrow. We'll remain cooler tomorrow, highs still in the 60s, but we rebound to the 70s on Tuesday and Wednesday. Backdoor cold front comes in to bring us down to the 60s for a couple days, but we likely stay dry for much of the week. Highs back in the mid 70s by next weekend.
Thanks, Jordan. And thank you for joining us. Have a great night.